Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Don't forget to like this video, share it if you will, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get right into it. So Orlinda was one of the prosecutors who was trying the case of Alec Baldwin. Because of her integrity and her morals, she went against her former prosecutor colleagues. So take a listen into this here clip as to her reasonings.
Because I learned about this evidence when the public learned about it yesterday, late afternoon. I don't know if you're aware, I actually came on this case kind of late in the game. I came on the case towards the end of April, so I had to get up to speed. I was not involved in the Hannah Gutierrez case at all, and so I was not aware that this individual had taken this ammunition to the sheriff's department and provided it to the officers. I learned all of that yesterday when Mr. Spiro was cross-examining the crime scene technician. So I inquired some more. And this morning, when the motion hearing began, my position was during the lunch hour, before the lunch hour, during the lunch hour, we have an obligation as prosecutors. We have an obligation not only to the people, but to the defendant. Mm-hmm. And our obligation is to make sure that all the evidence is turned over. We don't get to decide what the defense is going to be. Our job is to ensure transparency and to ensure that the defendant has everything that the prosecution has gathered. What they do with it, that's up to them.
So as you hear, Orlinda explains, she wasn't even on the case. She didn't get this case until April. And before she got the case, the other district attorney, Morrissey, was well aware of this discovery. She deliberately withheld it not only from the defense, but she withheld it from her team as well. Again, great decision by Orlinda to withdraw herself before the judge's decision to save her integrity.
I did. I believed the evidence that we had. I had no idea that there was this other evidence that had not been turned over. That there were some actions that were done during the filming, and there was some recklessness. I did based on the evidence that was available. So once I learned that this evidence was not turned over, that it was there, it was under a different case number, and my obligations, my ethical obligations as a prosecutor. Now, keep in mind, I've been a prosecutor. I was a state and federal prosecutor for over a decade. I've been a prosecutor. I've been a criminal defense lawyer for the last 16 years. So I've been on both sides. And I know what you're required to do. And when this came to light, I think that the best decision would have been for the state to dismiss the case. That's why I resigned.
Really?
Because I believed that case should have been dismissed, and I advocated for that over the lunch hour, and it wasn't. And so when we came back after the lunch hour, I asked to withdraw.
So Orlinda Johnson, the former prosecutor on the Alec Baldwin's case, she withdrew herself in the nick of time. She pleaded with her colleagues. She felt it was the right thing to do, because they left out this intentional evidence that could have been used to support his claim of innocence. So because of her integrity, once again, her morals and her values, being a former prosecutor and a defense lawyer, she made the right decision.
The question is, could the defense have made some use of this evidence in their defense? And like I said, we as prosecutors do not get to make that decision what the defense is going to be. It's, can the defense use this, and could it potentially raise some sort of reasonable doubt? And you have to step back. You're not an advocate. As a prosecutor, you're not an advocate. You are there to present the facts and to present the evidence, and your job is, and that's why I took this case on. I agreed to come on board, is because there was a woman who was killed, no question about it. This was tragic, and something happened, and a jury needed to make that decision. And so I believe in the system, and unfortunately, something went horribly wrong here, and I was not aware of it. And when I did become aware of it, my ethical obligations dictated that I advocate for a dismissal.
And there you have it. out of the words of Erlene Johnson herself. Because of the evidence that was not presented, and once it was presented, she had an obligation, her civil duty, and her responsibility, along with her morals and her values, was to do the right thing, was to ask for a dismissal of this case. But because of her colleagues, Morrissey did not want to do the same. She had to separate herself from what we see happening all over the world, including today. But because of her braveness, she freed Alec Baldwin. The other prosecutor would have continued on with prosecuting this case had it not been for, in my opinion, Erlene Johnson, and the judge decision was final. That's my time. Don't forget to like this video, share this video. Again, if you're new, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribers button. Turn that post bell notification on and select all so you do not miss me when I bring you guys yet another drop. That is my time. I will see you on the next one. Peace.